Okay, so example 1, we need to find the greatest common factor of the polynomial given to us. So in letter A, we have 12x to the 5th plus 8x to the 4th minus 6x cubed. And so what I need to do, or what I'm tasked with, is finding the greatest common factor. And when I'm going to do that, I'm going to actually break it down into their prime factors. So what a prime factor is a number that can only be multiplied by itself and 1. So it can't be broken out into different numbers. So like examples of prime numbers are like 1, 2, 3, 4 is not prime because 2 times 2 gives you 4. 5 is prime. 6 is not prime because you can break up 6 into 2 and 3. 7 is prime. 8 is not prime because 2 times 4 is 8. 9 is not prime because 3 and 3 make 9. And 10 is not prime. 11 is prime. So here's just the first couple of prime numbers that we can talk about. So we're going to break 12x to the 5th into its prime factors. So I usually like to start with 2. That's usually the number I like to start with. So 12 divided by 2, that gives me 6. So I know 2 times 6 gives me 12. But I'm not going to write 6 here after the 2 because 6 is not prime. Instead, what two numbers multiplied to each other give you 6? 2 times 3. So we're going to write 2 times 3. And I can double check this in my calculator if I need to. I know that 2 times 2 is 4 and 4 times 3 is 12. So therefore, that gives me my 12. And then x to the 5th, that's just the same as 5x's. And that's my prime factorization tree of the 12x to the 5th. Let's do 8x to the 4th next. So 8x to the 4th. Now, I know that 8x to the 4th, when I start with 2 again, that's going to give me 2 times 4, but 4 is not prime. It's not in my list of prime numbers. So instead, I'm going to write 2 times 2 because that's going to give me 4. And I know 4 times another 2 is going to give me 8. So 8 is the same as 2 times 2 times 2. Again, check it in your calculator if you need to. And then x to the 4th gives me 1, 2, 3, 4 x's. Now let's do the negative 6x to the 3rd power. Now this one's got a unique little negative there. Whenever I see a negative, I want to make sure I use it. So I'm actually going to make it say -1 here. Now I'm just going to work with the 6. So what times what gives me 6 that are prime numbers? Oh yeah, I forgot. 2 times 3. So I can double check in my calculator. Does -1 times 2 times 3 give me -6? Yes, it does. And then x cubed gives me x times x times x. Okay, now that I have the prime factorization of all 3 of these terms, I'm going to go back and I'm going to circle what they have in common. So the first thing that I see is they all have a 2 in common. That's about it as far as the numbers go. They only have the 2 in common. The 8x to the 4th does not have a 3, so I can't circle the 3's. Now let's move on to the x's. I see that they all have 1 x in common. They have another x in common, and they have a 3rd x in common. So when we're talking about the greatest common factor, we're talking about everything that they have in common. So they all have a 2, so my GCF is going to be 2, and they have 3 x's in common, so x to the 3rd. And that right there is my answer.